And it's very hard because this is why we always say see a clinician, because then they're working with you individually in this at the moment. What would be the place to get them to start?
The number one thing, which a lot of people are already doing this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kidney Coach YouTube channel. I am naturopath Fiona Chin, co-founder of Kidney Coach, the Kidney Disease Solution, and our supplement range, Genesis, which is specially formulated supplements to support those diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. And I'm joined again today by one of my favorite guests, Jessianna Saville. Jessianna heads up the team at Kidney Nutritional Institute over in the US. They're a team of renal dietitians and mindset coaches and more. You always add to the team, Jess, but really dedicated renal dietitians that are thinking outside the box when it comes to actually treating you as a person and not a disease when it comes to renal disease. So, Jessianna, for people listening, people are like, well, what do I eat? And we sort of talked around it, but then just run me over again. And you sort of did touch it, but just because I know people ask this question, and it's very hard because this is why we always say see a clinician, because then they're working with you individually and they can tailor it. I don't think there is one diet that works for everyone, but as a general rule, and because people want the quick fix, there isn't. Jessianna might see you and go, actually, you're going to be better plant-based, or you might be better this. But as a general rule, what is it? And I see the same thing as you, that you see works generally best if people wanted just to try something that are listening to this because they might not have the means or ways to see you just at the moment. What would be the place to get them to start?
I think that there's actually three things you can do that are really simple to get foundations, right? Even if you had these foundations in place and then you go see a clinician to fine tune it, you're not going to go wrong with these. So the number one thing, which a lot of people are already doing this, but the number one thing is to cut out processed foods and move towards whole natural foods, right? Not that, like, maybe on occasion you have like a cracker, you have something to like bring the rest of the whole foods in. But even if you go totally whole foods, cut down processed foods, hugely impactful. So that's number one. Number two, if you're thinking about what am I going to do with this protein thing that is like, I don't know what to do. Should I be plant-based? Should I be plant-based? I'm hearing like low protein and I'm hearing kind of normal proteins. What should I really do? That's where tons of people get very confused. The default for most people is they say, well, if it might hurt me, I'm cutting it out. And so they cut out protein entirely. And we see more people come in malnourished than we see overnourished in our practice. By far, I think 90% of people that come work with us are undernourished because they're too scared to eat. What you can do with the protein conversation is do a couple experiments for yourself and kind of a couple of things. So if you want something real basic, what you would think of is you'd keep your protein source, whatever it is, chicken or fish or beans or tofu, whatever. You'd keep your protein source, about the size, maybe, well, this is like a little battery pack, right? Or a mouse, but you keep that about that size, that 3 to 4 ounces on your plate, and then fill everything else up with veg, with produce. Here's the magic of that, is that it's not necessarily about throwing out the protein. It is about how you balance it. And when I have people really up in arms, what am I going to do with protein? I say, whatever you choose to have with protein, do whatever you want. But for whatever amount of protein you have, I want you to have twice as much vegetable. That's like the easy formula. I'll say, whatever amount of protein you have to eat twice as much vegetable. And they're like, well, I could eat a 12-ounce steak. I said, great. If you're going to eat that much meat, you need to be able to double that in the amount of vegetables at your meal. And when you start putting kind of this balanced perspective of where you're going to put these two nutrients, it's very easy. So that's one thing you can do. If you want just a simple, whatever amount of protein you do twice the amount of vegetable. And corn is not a vegetable, just as a side note. In America, for whatever reason, people think corn's a vegetable. That's the grain. The other thing that you could do maybe as an experiment, and it gives you super good information, is maybe for 2 weeks, do go totally plant-based. I am not in favor that that's the best way for people, but when you go for 2 weeks totally plant-based, take all the meat out, you will know if totally plant-based is doing something good or not for you. And it's a very interesting experiment to do because it helps you, number one, it helps you kind of see, whoa, like how do I eat more vegetables? So it really helps people expand how they're going to eat vegetables. The other thing is that people will notice I just felt like not really full all the time without a little bit of meat. Or let's say I just, or else other people say I felt amazing. You do have to give it at least 2 weeks. You can do that experiment. And again, like you kind of do this foundation and then you bring it to a clinician, or maybe you see what it does in your labs and you can go from there. But I will tell you that if you start getting results on plant-based, but then now you start feeling really tired, you probably have a deficiency, either a mineral or amino acid. So a couple of things you can try there, right? So cut out the junk food, the processed food, and then try doing a 1-to-2 ratio of whatever protein to vegetable. Super simple, just those two things to start. And it kind of, gives you so many options of what to eat.
If you want to reach out to Jessianna and the team, I'll put the details in below, but it's kidneynutritionalinstitute.org. They've got a whole team and they can work with anyone from around the world. I know a lot of people that work with us also work with Jessianna and the team. And they're able to do telehealth, and we've got insurance in the US, they'll work with that. If you want to know more about what we do, head to www.kidneycoach.com. Make sure you hit subscribe and like. That way you'll get notified anytime we put up new content. Thank you for being part of the community. And we look forward to taking you on the journey of amino acids through 2025. Jessianna, thank you again for your time and your knowledge and your care for patients. It's always greatly appreciated.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.